Yo, how's it going, people? Welcome to the stream. Hope everyone has had a fantastic, what today is this? Sunday. Hope everyone's had a fantastic Sunday. Hope everyone's doing great, everyone's feeling freaking great. Had some good time, has watched some football. Manchester United just lost to Liverpool 3-0. Happy days in that regard. But overall, it is what it is. My hero is doing madness, but overall, it is quite weird, quite questionable what is happening at the moment at Arsenal. It's very weird. We have injuries, we have red cards, everything. We're gonna talk about all of that today. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about Champions League, red card that Rice got, and everything. We're gonna talk about every single thing that involves that. Big up Nathan in the chat. I'm worried about our midfield. I feel like Arteta will drop Havertz to the 8 and start Party. The thing is, he cannot afford to even drop Havertz in the 8. Because he has nobody then who to play up top. So, in a way, this could be a good thing because Havertz is the only quote-unquote striker we have at the moment. It is, that's how I see it. I'd rather play Zinchenko at 8. Yeah, I would want for Arteta to try that option, actually explore that option, because maybe put Rice at 6, Zinchenko at 8, and then Odegaard at 10. But I don't think Arteta sees him as a number 8. That's the big issue here. Although he's been here now for the 3rd year, quite a bit of people, not everyone, has been screaming to play him at number 8, yet he never has played at number 8, which is a bit annoying, to say the least, I'm not gonna lie. But I hope you're having a good day in Snowball. Yeah, United lost, Spurs lost, so that is good in a sense, but of course, 3 games in, City have won all 3, Arsenal already are on a draw. And we have international break, and then we are going to Spurs, and we have no Declan Rice. So, it's not looking too good. Big up Pepper in the chat, we are so cooked. It's unraveling earlier than even I predicted. To be honest, we'll see what's gonna happen in international duty, because Timber has been selected for international duty as well, so we'll see how that goes. A few Arsenal players have been selected, and we all know how international duties tend to go with injuries and everything, so I hope we can avoid some of those, because if we cannot avoid injuries there, then it could be genuinely curtains overall. So it is looking, how to say this, it's not looking great and it's not looking bad, but we are in a way right there down the middle, because one thing could happen, one thing could lead to another, and the wheels could fall off. Yet at the same time, if things kind of progress properly, things could actually go well. So we are in that interesting gray zone at the moment between white and black, between good and bad, and we are one injury technically away from something going very poorly. Now, going back to this statement about Havertz maybe dropping down to 8, I don't think Arteta will do that, because the way I see it, he's not going to play Zinchenko there. The most likely scenario is that he's going to play either not Havertz, what I'm talking about, Jorginho. He might play Jorginho actually there. He might play Jorginho as an 8, which technically wouldn't work at all, because Jorginho has 0 legs. So who he's going to play there? Because Merino is injured, Rice has a red, and we're playing against Spurs. Yes, their midfield isn't the greatest, but in Spurs midfield everyone has legs, and we need some legs in the midfield. And we already have a party who quote-unquote doesn't have legs. So it is a bit of a weird one at the moment to see what's gonna happen, because Merino won't be back by the looks of things until October, mid-October, so we're gonna have to wait for that. So the midfield options genuinely could be only Zinchenko, as you said, but Arteta has never played Zinchenko in an 8, which is a big question mark. What's going to happen with that? And technically drop down Havertz. But where then we get the striker from? Because that means potentially we could maybe explore the option of Martinelli or Trossard playing that number 9 leading the line. And maybe pushing out then, maybe even Sterling start at that wing spot. That is the big question here. And that is one of the things we're going to talk about today. Raheem Sterling at Arsenal. Could it work? And can it work? Will it work? That obviously remains to be seen, but could it somehow go and develop? But first things first, what we're gonna talk about for today is Declan Rice. Declan Rice, obviously, he got a red card yesterday. 2 yellows, 1 yellow. The 1 yellow was, well, deserved. The other one was basically, you could say it was the referee But for me as well, to a certain extent, it was stupidity of Declan Rice himself, in my opinion at least. That for me is also a big thing here, because let's be real, you are England's international. You are one of the main guys in England. You're one of the main guys for Arsenal, and you decide to make a move which basically means you're gonna get sent off in a way, because the referee already is on the edge. The referee didn't have a great game. I'm not gonna lie. The referee was having quite shocking game to say the least. But overall, yeah. What referee was doing, he was kind of dismissing some Arsenal's things as well, because Saka should have gone a few fouls called on him. There should have been one or two yellows on Brighton players as well. But overall, yeah, refereeing was shocking. But you got a yellow card in the first half, in the 43rd minute. Partey got in 45 plus 2, so 47, 48th minute. When both of them were on yellows, on my watch along, I said that there's a big chance one of them will get a red. Now, I didn't expect anyone to get a red, but there was a big chance. And on top of that, I didn't expect one single bit for Rice to pull such a stunt to get that yellow card. Obviously, at that time, it's called delaying the game, unsportsmanlike conduct, or whatever it's gonna called, because whatever you're gonna call it. Obviously, in the first half, João Pedro does the same thing and doesn't get a yellow whatsoever. That was everyone's basically the arguing point for this instance. But in a way, yeah, Kavanagh had a stinker there, but at the same time, he wanted to make him about himself. Yet, on the other hand, you have to keep Declan Rice accountable for this situation, because there's no chance in hell that you cannot go there and say, if Rice doesn't do that, he's still on the pitch, because that would be the case. Rice didn't have to kick the ball away. He didn't have to get kicked there or anything. Because if he just walks away in that situation, he gets nothing. He doesn't get a yellow, he doesn't get anything. Every game is progressing and he is still on the pitch, and Arsenal still have a chance of winning the game. Mind you, with 10 men, we actually had more chance of winning the game than arguably Brighton had to winning the game overall. And that is also a big case. And with 10 men, we actually looked very shocking as well, in a way. We just hit them on a counter, so we put up low block, 5 at the back, where the substitution came about 20 seconds too late, because 20 seconds before that, João Pedro managed to make it 1-1, so Arteta also missed the trick on that one, because there's a 9-minute gap between the red card and the sub, so it was a bit of a stinker there as well for Mikel Arteta, arguably. You could have put him on a bit sooner, and that a bit sooner in this instance kind of decided the game, arguably. At the same time, Havertz could have scored easily. Saka could have scored as well. We had the chances to actually win the game, because if we scored one of those chances, I don't see Brighton scoring given how they were pushing. There's a bigger chance of us subbing on Martinelli and hitting him on another counter and making it 3-1 if we had scored the second, than them making it 2-2. So that was also a big instance where, if there was a situation where you were looking at things and think, we needed to sign a striker, I think that was the case. Genuinely, that was the case, because if you look at other teams who have strikers, they actually score. Haaland scored another hat-trick. Haaland has, I think, 9. Haaland has, at the moment in Premier League, more goals than any club has in the Premier League at the moment this season. So how mad is that? Imagine that situation. And it's almost like they say, if you have a striker, you actually can win something. You have someone who scores goals. And Arsenal don't have a striker. Havertz is that type of player. Yes, he was off balance. Yes, he had a great first touch to kind of sell the ball and then go out with that one-on-one chance with kind of defender breathing down his neck. But overall, he chipped the goalkeeper in the first instance. Why didn't he chip the keeper here? Because there's a bigger chance than not that goalkeeper is going to go low, right? So Declan Rice has had all the chances of chipping the keeper right there as well. Yet he decided, Kai Havertz. But he decided to shoot it far corner where he saved it with his feet, where Bruggen actually did a good job there in that instance. Big up Nick in the chat, big up. So overall, I must say, also under Arsene Wenger, with 10 men when we played under Arsene Wenger, we looked sometimes more dangerous than we had 11 men. Yet when we play under Mikel Arteta, we park the bus instantly. And that was one of the biggest things. Somehow Odegaard also was kind of anonymous in the game yesterday. wasn't his usual himself. He had a straight up clear path to pass it to Calafiori, who was pushing down the left side when we were down to 10 men, but he hit it straight at the defender. That wasn't great as well. But overall, yeah, that Declan Rice red card, you can argue this or not, whether it was a red or not, but ultimately, we should have won the game. You could argue easily that. If we had a proper striker, we win the game by default in that instance. To be honest, win most of the games by default if we have a proper striker. But even with Havertz up top, we are down to 10 men. Saka has a chance. He just doesn't get to the ball. He gets it, but very weak shot, and hits it straight at Verbruggen. Havertz has a chance. And I think, genuinely, it didn't matter at that stage, and for Arsenal, how we were playing with 10 or with 11 men. We were going to get chances. It was basically if we can finish them or not. And this was another game where it got proven that Havertz is kind of a mixed type of player. When it's hot and cold, he can score and he can miss the same similar chances every single game. And that is a big issue why throughout the whole transfer window I was screaming for a striker. Most of the fan base was screaming for a striker. I know that there are a big part of fan base that doesn't want still a striker. They think it's not necessary because we spread the goals around. Yet I am still a big believer that we actually need a striker. But it is what it is. It's a draw. You could say better than a loss, but we, to be honest, had chances to win the game, and we should have taken the chances to win the game. And again, obviously it comes down for us not having a proper striker. But it is what it is. I guess the past is past. That we only can move forward. We can only move forward. We can look forward. I'm not gonna lie, when you look forward, it's not looking great as well, to be honest, in a way. But yeah, Declan Rice's red card, as I said, yes, Kavanagh, you could say, had a stinker. He could have not given that yellow card there. Yet at the same time, for a player that is Declan Rice, for the stature that Declan Rice brings for being one of the best players in Prem in that role, one of the best players for Arsenal, one of the main guys for England as well in a way, in that situation, why are you kicking the ball away? Why are you kicking it away? Why not just stand up and walk away? You wanted your big moment as a badass or, I don't know, some dark arts moment. You tried to do something there, and it massively backfired at the end of the day. This, for me, genuinely, this is more on Rice than it is on Kavanagh. Because Rice had every chance in that situation. Get up and walk away and do nothing about it. Yet he decides to kick the ball away, then he gets kicked, he has to act that he got kicked and everything. And in that instance, it's on him. That is fully on him. Declan Rice as well, as you can see, he said here, he on his post on Instagram said, disappointed. Didn't feel it's deserved second yellow card, but will learn and be better for it. Proud of the boys regardless. Thank you for the amazing support, Gunners. For me, the big thing is, didn't feel it deserved a second yellow card, but will learn and be better from it. Why you need to say that you will learn and be better for it? You just could have easily stood up and walked away. There's either you make a choice in that situation. You kick the ball and you risk being sent off because you're already on a yellow. How can you not comprehend that? You get paid big money, one of the main guys. How can you not comprehend that in that situation? You had a chance. Kick the ball, risk the second yellow and get sent off, or just walk away and keep playing. It is what it is. But as I said, with 10 men, we created 2 big chances to score, and to be honest, in that instance, we were closer to winning the game actually than to losing or drawing the game. Yet again, we still needed a striker, and without a striker, we couldn't finish those chances. But it is what it is, I guess. Raya as well. Raya for me, 3 games, 3 men of the matches for me, David Raya. Because there was a clean open net. Obviously, Ayari had not the best of shots because he shot straight at the corner where kind of David Raya was. Yet at the same time, Raya was jumping to the other side, so he kind of got caught in opposite motion, counter motion. Yet he did a save with his feet. So props him for that. And he again saved Arsenal from arguably losing the game. So yeah, Raya for me, 3 games, 3 men of the matches in that instance as well. Big up BX Gunner in the chat. Rice was completely at fault for us being a disadvantage. To be honest, yeah. For me, it's more on him than it is on anybody else. And Arsenal were not robbed. It's not a disgrace. Because he did, in a way, it's his fault. In that situation, it's totally on him. Kavanagh did something by the book, basically, in that instance. Delaying the game, unsportsmanlike conduct, whatever you want to call it. People want to call out for him not giving yellow to João Pedro. Okay, fairs. But at the same time, in this instance, Rice should not have done that. The ball was out of play. It was a throw-in. In this instance, it was a foul, and they were trying instantly, potentially even just to kick it long and catch us out. You could argue also that. From that throw-in where he just kicked it long, João Pedro away, nothing would come out of it, let's be real. So it is what it is. Rice took a risk, wanted to be the big man, and got put in his place by the referee at the end of the day. That's how I see it. He hasn't been at his best in showed. Yeah, he has played pretty much 50 plus games every single season for the last 3-4 years. For West Ham, for Arsenal, includes England internationals and everything. He has played almost every single game. You can see he's a winded already at some times during the game. He hasn't fully recovered. There are some stamina issues. He needs a break. Maybe a longer one. Maybe. But it is what it is. In a way, that's why you get to pay the big bucks out. You could argue that. Yet at the same time, UEFA are pushing to add more games. FIFA and UEFA are pushing to add more games during the season. So that's also not the greatest in a way. We paid the price, yeah. Rice basically cost us. But come on, man. The ref was fuck all that Hinshelwood was all over sucks. Yeah, that is the case. Kavanagh had a stinker. Yeah, he was shocking yesterday. I'll agree with that. He didn't give few yellows to Brighton players. Saka got basically stomped into the ground at times, got elbows to the face and everything. Yet at the same time, he had the right to send him off, give him the yellow. He had the right, and he just did it. You could argue he made it about himself. How comes he didn't give it to João Pedro? But at the end of the day, it's mostly on Rice. You cannot put it on Kavanagh, because if Rice doesn't do that, he doesn't get it. We have to expect to be up against 12 men every match, so we can... Exactly, that's also the case. Many games that's the case, because Saka genuinely could get his arm chopped off mid-game, and referee does nothing. We have seen it for the last 2-3 years quite heavily. Saka doesn't get the fouls called on him he should be getting called on. There are quite heavy fouls. And at one point, this also could lead to a very extended injury. They all praise PGMOL, FA, and everything praise protecting their players. Yet at the same time, players don't get protected whatsoever. In this instance, Bukayo Saka doesn't get protected at all. In some instances, it feels like. That is a big issue for me. It's double standards, basically. It's like when you do VAR challenges, first of all, it's generally like the meme. VAR, check the badge to see who team you are doing, and then you make a decision. Because genuinely, there are some decisions where you basically, based on badge, there is decision. Because it cannot be like, you cannot explain the fact that there's only one explanation, basically, to a certain fact, where there are copy-paste situations over the same game week or 2-3 game weeks. Yet, you get different results of the VAR decisions on those instances. There has to be something there. AFT reckoned that Arteta has not signed a new contract. Of course he has signed already. He has a job for life. I said he'd be managing Real Sociedad, not at Arsenal. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see what's going to happen. Arteta said it will be after that, but we'll see how that's going to happen. We genuinely see what's going to happen there. We'll see what's going to happen with that. Because at some point, if he has signed it, good luck. If he hasn't signed it, good luck. Either way. Good luck to us, good luck to him. Because for me, we should wait till April to see what's going to happen with that. Whether we're going to sign it, whether should we give him the extension or not. But Josh thinks otherwise with Stan. The argument was that basically the ball was rolling in motion and Veltman put the ball 6 yards ahead. Yeah, but they do it all the time. That's the big thing. There's no consistency with refereeing. There will be times, and there have been many times where many players don't get a yellow card for that. Yet there are at the same time many times they have gone yellow card for it. So there's many instances, and they're sometimes the same referees, sometimes they're different referees, but every single time the common predominator is PGMOL and Howard Webb basically protecting them. There's no calling out of them, no nothing. It's like they can do whatever they want, but pretty much no consequences. What, you're gonna ban him from 1 game? 2 game weeks? He's gonna lose a few bucks? Whatever, basically. It doesn't hit the pocket. They don't get held accountable to such an extent so that they have some actual repercussions about their decisions. That is the thing. Because he could have given to João Pedro a yellow for that. Because last year we saw these instances where when the who kicked the ball like João Pedro instantly away, instantly got a yellow. Instantly in the first few game weeks. One game week later, they kick the ball wherever away, nothing gets given. Then someone blocks the pass, the ball, as you said, the ball is rolling, put 6 yards in front of it, ahead, everything, not a yellow. 2 game weeks later, rolls, same thing, it is a yellow. That's the thing, there is no consistency. You can put it all on referees. But at the same time, Declan Rice shouldn't have done what he did there. He is already on a yellow. If he wasn't on a yellow, you could kind of maybe say, okay, cool, he got a yellow for that, just in case, whatever happened there. But he was already on a yellow. And with these referees, when there are no consistency, you never know what they're gonna choose. To give it or not to give it. So in those instances, you rather should be playing it safe. Especially if you're on a yellow, you have been already booked. Declan Rice decided to have his moment and he paid for it. That's the thing here. It's on both of them. But it's more on Declan Rice for me. Because he shouldn't be kicking the ball away either way. He just shouldn't be touching it. He just should have just walked away, stood up and walk away. That's it. Do nothing else. Genuinely, do nothing else. But it is what it is. About this, genuinely, debates can go on for hours and for days. But until the referees themselves, the PGMOL or etc., don't do anything about it, nothing will change. And we can lose our heads arguing about this single day, every single time for the whole season, and the next season, and the next season, and the next season. Anyhow, I would say that's enough about Declan Rice, Declan Couscous, Bismonte Rice, and all that stuff. Let's talk about Raheem the Dream Sterling. Raheem the Dream Sterling at Arsenal. Let's talk about that. PSV manager would be a good Arteta replacement if he leaves. PSV already scored 18 goals in 4 games. They're also brilliant last year. To be honest, the way Kroenkes have signed Arteta, right? A young manager, no experience and everything. There are multiple managers they could sign based on that merit, and if they want a proven winner, there are few managers they can sign on that merit, because they could sign Inzaghi from Inter Milan, who we're gonna play in Champions League. They can sign the Lisbon Sporting manager, Coyg, whatever his name is. They could sign Moraes. I forgot Lisbon Sporting's manager's name, genuinely. Why I think it's Coyg, because I just read that he went to a loan, maybe. They can sign Girona manager. He's doing quite a great bits as well in Serie A La Liga, sorry. Obviously, there are some big names, but that, just like Inzaghi, requires big money. The thing is, money speaks, and if they are serious about winning us titles and everything, they could actually pull out the bag, buy out the contract, promise him we're gonna give you that money, we give you, let's just say, 2-3 years, do what you can. Let's see what you can do. Because they talk about these phrases, processes, and everything. If Arteta leaves, it doesn't have to start from zero. Because we have many, many good players, and actually we have players to play different tactics. We can play 3 at the back, we can play 4 at the back, we can play 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, 4-5-1. Depends how you look at it, and depends what style you want to play. We actually have the pieces to play those styles. You can actually even just go and sign, if you, for example, grant him 200 million, you can sign some Amorim. Yeah, Amorim, yeah, that's the guy. Amorim, yeah, Sporting Amorim, that's the guy. I was thinking about Coyg because Juventus and everything. But yeah, you can go for him. He's doing a good job. Let's see how he does against us in Champions League. Last time it went well. And everything, so let's see how that goes. But yeah, there are managers you can get, because managers pretty much are like players. Everyone's, well, not everyone, let's just say Pep, Ancelotti, maybe those are not available, but most of the managers are available if you're ready to pay the money. But are you ready to pay the money? Are you ready to trust in that? That's all up to Kroenkes and the management who are trying to hire him, obviously. Anyways, Raheem the Dream Sterling, as they like to call him. Deadline day, shocking display. This is what I call this, I think, mid-August? Late August? No, mid-August I think I called this. When they signed when they signed Pedro Neto. A bit before that, I called that Sterling, if he leaves, he would be typical Arsenal/Arteta signing. That was the case. And at the transfer deadline day, it actually materialized. Obviously, this window for me is about 5 out of 10. Overall, 5 out of 10. I would say, let's just say 7 out of 10 for sales. I would say 4 out of 10 for signings. Overall, 4 out of 10. That on average comes as 5.5, but the fact that we dragged out Calafiori for a month and a half, 1 month on Merino, I'm taking half off, so it's 5. Could even give a 4, to be honest. But I'm giving a 5. It's nothing great. But if we sign, let's just say, a striker, a midfielder, proper one, then the left back, and then we sign, let's just say, Sterling, right? Then it would be a completely different story, because arguably we would have addressed the positions we need to address. That is the big case here. But yeah, Raheem Sterling signs for Arsenal. Arsenal are paying only 30% of his wages. Arsenal are paying him 100k. Rest of the money is funded on the salary by Chelsea. Obviously, he cannot play against Chelsea in Premier League, in the Cups, if we play him. But overall, yeah, we signed him 100k a week. So basically what we pay Reece Nelson or Edin Nketiah, depends on which you want to pick as your poison. In this instance, I would say Reece Nelson. But we sign him. And here is the big debate. Is it a decent signing? Is it an underwhelming signing? And could he work and will he work at Arsenal? That is the big question that arguably everyone is having, because there is mostly people saying that he could do good, and another part of people saying that he will stink out the place. Because on his day, he is an amazing player if he's on it. If he's not on it, then he is quite suspect, to say the least. Let's just say that. So, here's my take on it, basically. Here is my take on Raheem Sterling. It's a fantastic signing when adding context, and here it will be, and I'm gonna talk about it. That's the case. That's what I'm gonna do here. I wouldn't say it's a fantastic signing. I would say it's a good signing just because of the context I'm gonna try and kind of express from my point of view. Right? If for Sterling signing as an own, if we would just buy him, right? I would be hella pissed. Since it's on loan, we play only 100k a week. It kind of changes the narrative, the way you look at things, right? But now let's look at Sterling in general. How he has done in Premier League, and could he work for Arsenal and Mikel Arteta? That is the big case. And for me, actually, and I'm not the biggest Sterling fan because of Chelsea. The big thing for me is when you go to Chelsea in the last 3-4 years, you kind of cannot judge player. Because Chelsea are a massive mess in that instance, if you think about it. Havertz was in a mess, Sterling, the big players that have gone there, they have stunk out the place. The players who have had very decent numbers before they moved to Chelsea, you have to keep in mind that Chelsea are a bit of a mess in general. Because they haven't had a proper manager, they're changing managers like socks, there's no consistency, they're lacking in almost every single department on the pitch, and they don't have a concrete game plan and the way to play. That is one of the biggest instances. They just basically throw shit at the wall and see what sticks in a way. Let's just say that. However, if we look at Raheem Sterling, obviously he started his career at Liverpool. Remember that striker force that Liverpool had with Suarez, Sterling, and Sturridge. Remember those days they had those 3 players up top. They were quite phenomenal. And Sterling, as a young player, in the last season, and he was at Liverpool, did this 7+7, which overall may not seem that great. But he was super young at the time, and at the end of the day, he moved to Manchester City. For 2 years, he was bang average, and City fans were kind of semi-patient with him, but they also wanted him out. But here is the kicker. When Pep comes in, he already has a vision how he wants to play the player. how he envisions the player in the team. Maybe not instantly, but maybe after a year, after two, because when Grealish came in, he also didn't play Grealish instantly. Most of the first season, he basically spent on the bench. He basically sat there, was learning system, tactics, and everything. So now we look at Raheem Sterling, and here it is. All the seasons he played for after the first two seasons at City, when he got a proper role, when he got proper game time, when he finally had adjusted and learned the tactics, how everything should be, he hits double digits in goals every single season, and he hits double assists on one occasion, nearly double digits on another season, and he then 20 goals, 1 assist. That is incredible. 7 assists, 5 assists. Obviously he didn't do the same at Chelsea, but you kind of get it why. Now, if we look at the game where he mostly plays, right, predominantly he plays left wing / right wing, which for Arsenal in this instance is a very great position. Because we have a backup for Bukayo Saka, which is number 8, which is great for that. And our left wing position, you could argue, for the last 2 years has been under massive question marks. Yes, Martinelli had that one great season, but since then, he's done, you could arguably say, pretty much nothing, right? Trossard has come on and kind of saved that and kind of rescued that left wing spot for Arsenal in certain games. So far, I would say that's a fair assessment. The thing about this is, the way Pep Guardiola plays is very similar the way Arteta plays. It's a system type of signing, because if you look, for example, at Phil Foden, he works like a charm for Manchester City. He wins, he scores goals, he assists, he looks phenomenal, wins the league, he gets PFA Team of the Season, PFA Team Player of the Year awards, and everything, right? As soon as he goes to England, he basically disappears. He goes anonymous, and you pretty much wonder why the hell has been called up to the England squad. And I think with Raheem Sterling, it's similar. It's pretty much more or less similar. Because when Raheem Sterling strikes me as a player who can dribble, arguably for the winger spot, he has the best technical ability we have at the moment on that left side, right? And I think there is a big argument to be made for Raheem Sterling to actually start games. Yes, he may need someone to overlap. We'll see how that goes. But overall, just like Phil Foden, under Pep Guardiola, will be doing great. He will do great under Arteta because he's also a system player for me. He also will sit on that left side. He will cut in, take on his opponent. He will cross and score. Yes, it will be frustrating to watch him at times because he will lose the ball on occasions. Yet at the same time, he will actually try to do something. Our left wingers, in general, similar like the right winger as well, Saka doesn't do it as much. He used to do it before more, now he doesn't do it as much. Doesn't take his opponent on as much anymore. And I think Raheem Sterling in that instance is kind of fearless in that. Genuinely fearless. He actually takes on an opponent that goes at him. And that is something we need. Because if he gets past him, you could arguably say the world is his oyster at that situation. Because someone has to overcommit, it opens the gaps. If you make proper run, you get the ball, it creates a chance to score. He can cross it, he can shoot, and do everything. Even Sterling for England in that 20, 21, 22 season, you could argue was one of the best players in that England squad. You could argue genuinely that. And that's why I think Sterling actually at Arsenal, at that left wing spot, at some point during the season, could actually get some starting role. And he could actually work. Because if everything clicks, as it should be clicking under Mikel Arteta, because Mikel Arteta single-handedly has molded him, has worked with him one-on-one, just like he did with Sane at Manchester City, as Pep Guardiola has insisted it over multiple times, there is a player there which Arteta in a way could unlock. Yes, I'm not a big fan of us going back to Chelsea or City, signing their second best players, their rejects and stuff like that. But you could argue that Raheem Sterling in this instance is the best player, as Chelsea City rejects we have signed since Arteta has been here, is the best signing. You could argue genuinely that. Better than Havertz, better than Jesus, better than Zinchenko, And from olden days, let's be real, every Chelsea took the piss of us, taking our best players and giving their trash basically to us. You could generally kind of talk about that. You could generally talk about the fact that he is arguably one of the best players we have gotten from Chelsea in general. So there is a potential under Mikel Arteta for Sterling actually to work. Now, will it work? That is a complete different story. But if you look overall, you could say that there's everything in place for Sterling to work at Arsenal. The tactics, the system, the manager, as weird as it sounds, and everything. I'm just trying to kind of get some perspective how it actually could work. I know it's kind of a signing like trying to justify such a signing, but you kind of have to try to do it. Because we are kind of, you could say stuck with him, but he's our player until end of the season. The thing is, if he hits ground running, Chelsea will make bank on him. The biggest worry for me is Arsenal will actually sign him then. That is something I actually don't want. If he hits the ground running, he helps Arsenal and everything. If he does that, I don't want actually at the end of the day Arsenal to sign him. But I just want for it to work. And for him to work at Arsenal, there are more merit, more background, and more foundations for Sterling to work at Arsenal. At least that's how I see it. Let me know what you think in the chat. Sterling's our best dribbler, blinding pace winger, and has end product. I wouldn't say he has the end product. He's also kind of inconsistent, but he actually can finish. There's that thing he can finish. Yes, he can miss an open net because he has done it before, yet he can score some good goals. That is the thing. The one thing I like about Sterling is the fact that he actually can dribble. He can actually purely dribble. He has the tech to dribble. Because for our wingers, Martinelli doesn't have that. Let's be real. And Trossard, as much as he has it, he still lacks a bit there. And he's a bit let down by the fact that he has a bit of lack of pace. Sterling has kind of a mix of both. So there is actually, could work. He operates on both wings with great agility and will terrorize opponents in our system. He actually could. That's the thing. In our system, that is, you could say if we play like Pep, similar to that system, he actually should be doing good. He should be doing better than he did at Chelsea. Let's just put it that way. He should be surpassing his best point tally what he had at Chelsea last season, 8 goals, 4 assists, thus 12 points in all in Premier League. He should be surpassing that. In my opinion, Sterling, if he doesn't even start, he should be being closer to these instances. 13 goals, 5 assists, or 10 goals, 7 assists. Something similar to what Trossard did last season for Arsenal. That is the way I see it, because Trossard last season came off the bench most of the time. He obviously started a few games, but he came off the bench most of the time. And if you actually, from last season, right, exclude the goals that, for example, Saka scored from penalty spot, right, Trossard is on the same amount of goals as Bukayo Saka. As weird as it sounds, with playing half the minutes that Saka played. Which is also a very weird comparison to make, but I think you get what I mean. And I think Sterling actually during the season could kind of maybe actually even start for Arsenal at some point. There actually could be some merit to that. Sterling has been great in the past for club and country. The question is, will he actually rise at Arsenal? Or will he stay the same? That is the big question. Because if he rises at Arsenal, okay, cool. As long as we don't sign him at the end of the loan spell. Because then Chelsea can slap a massive price tag on him, and I just don't want to see that whatsoever. Let's be real. There's a massive disclaimer on that. Because he's on 100 grand a week. Well, he's on 320, but Arsenal are playing 100. So basically, same day pay for Reece Nelson. So in that instance, Arsenal have gone on the same wages, if you get what I mean, much better play than Reece Nelson. Let's just put it that way. This last World Cup, England was crying out for. Arguably, you could say that. You could arguably say that. You should listen to Lee Gunnar. Sterling is the worst player. Definitely not. Definitely not. The thing about Lee is that he's very blunt and very direct. That's why people don't like him, tend to kind of misinterpret what he says. I have no problem with the guy. I respect his opinion. I respect what he thinks and what he says about the players in that instance. He just says it in very straight, blunt fashion. Because I have said the same things he has said. Dan Potts has said the same things he has said. Maybe I do it in a bit more softly, and Dan Potts says it way more softly than we do. In that instance, we are just not as direct and not as blunt, basically, in that instance, the way I see it. That's the way I see it, at least. But I have no problem with Lee. I actually, to be honest, enjoy his content. Watching the watch-alongs, discussions, and everything. There's some banter, there's discussions. There is actually some constructive criticism overall. Do I agree with everything he says? No. But at the same time, I respect the guy for what he's doing. And his opinions actually there is actually quite a bit of merit to his opinions, the way he says, what he says. Do I agree the way he says it? Not always, but that's the people. Many people don't agree what I say. They say I'm very negative, very toxic. I'm very stupid. I should go support Spurs and all that stuff as well. Just because I'm don't think that, for example, Mikel Merino is the greatest signing on this planet. It's on the same levels as Kevin De Bruyne, because he's not. He's a good signing, but does he close the gap to Manchester City? In my opinion, he doesn't. But other people think he does. Yet people don't like the fact that I don't think he does, basically. That's the way. Sterling starts for me right now. He's ready to give the finished product. Do you start Sterling against Spurs? Let me put it that way. Do you start Raheem Sterling against Spurs? An experienced veteran. Sterling will resurrect his career this season alone, and Arsenal will probably get back in England squad and give a big move. That's the thing. That is the thing. For the way we play, the way Sterling could slot into our team, and he could actually kinda arguably blossom, if that even is a proper word to describe this. He will score some goals, he will show his quality, and next season, for about 45-50 million, he will go to a different team. If it happens, great for him, great in that regard. I just hope it's not to Arsenal. Because I will not stand for the fact that he comes here on loan, he does great, okay, cool. I won't stand for the fact that we waste 50 million on Sterling in a way without addressing the striker position, and on top of that, we will give them 50 million, and that will fund them for more signings. Because I'm very happy that we got him on loan and didn't have to purchase him, because there's a big chance if we bought him, we would have funded them signing Osimhen. That is the big case, because us signing, for example, Zinchenko and Jesus from City pretty much funded them signing Erling Haaland as well. Us signing Havertz from Chelsea has funded them how many signings by now? Pretty much you could say Pedro Neto in an instance, arguably. We have funded them that. If you look at it that way, it's not a good look, let's just say that. It's generally not a good look. You would start Sterling against, against Spurs. The question is, can Sterling actually work defensively as well? Because under Arteta's system, you kind of have to do both things, and that actually doesn't fly well with Mikel if you don't do these things. That is the big question. How much help on defense he would bring? To be honest, what is happening with Timber? Apparently it was only cramps and he's good, but who knows? Well, at least those are my thoughts on Raheem Sterling. The way I see it potentially happening, potentially growing, and the way it could be happening at Arsenal. I'm not trying to justify the signing, I'm not trying to do anything like that. I'm just trying to kind of make some sense of the signing and what could happen. I know it sounds very Top Gunner-like, but at this point he's here, and I kind of have to get and support the club at this instance just for the fact that he is here. That is the case, and I'm just trying to understand if there's a possibility for that to happen. And you could arguably say that at the moment he is actually the best left winger we have at the club. There's actually an argument to be made for that. On paper, definitely. Performance-wise, based on last year, based on years at Chelsea, you wouldn't say that. Based on years at City, 100%. If we signed him from City straight up, that would arguably be a different case. You could say that. But in this system, the way we play, he actually works. The way I think, if Arteta actually implements him similarly like he was playing at City, the way he was exploited at City, I can actually see it working very nicely. The question is, will it work? Will he be implemented? And will he hit the ground running? That is the biggest case in this instance. You say you had poor transfer market, but you just beat Spurs. Big up Adjeri in the chat. At the same time, who doesn't beat Spurs? Now that I have said that, probably I hope we don't lose in 2 weeks, but you get what I mean. You will see, you might actually be tied by FFP or PSR on some of those instances, but you have spent way too much money, for my liking at least. I'd argue he's our best overall winger right now, based on his accomplishments, but based on accomplishments alone, on accomplishments alone, he's the best player in the club. Because none of our players, Jorginho and Sterling, are the best players in our club, based solely on paper what they have accomplished. One is a World Cup winner, one World Cup, Euros, World Cup winner, right? And one has won pretty much everything you can imagine with Manchester City. Based on paper, right? Sterling and Jorginho are the best players in our club, based on paper by their accomplishments. In what they're doing in real life at the moment on the pitch, whole different story. Their form and everything is a whole different story right now. We are not getting into that. Into that instance, definitely. Because look at this. Look at Sterling's accomplishments. 4 Premier Leagues, 1 FA Cup, 4 English League Cups, 2 Community Shields. What else he has won over the years? Has to be something else. Oh, nothing else. Footballer of the Year for England in 2019 as well. Imagine, 5 FA Cups with City, 4 Premier Leagues with City, English FA Cup with City, 2 Super Cups with City, and a Player of the Year. Based on merits, what he has achieved, best player in the team, on the merits alone. However, in the last seasons, performance-wise, not so much, obviously. Based also on his gameplay and what he has shown capable of, the pace, dribbling, everything. To be honest, there is a way, yeah. You could genuinely put what is this player? Yeah, you could put an argument to that 100%. You could put a massive argument for the fact that he is the best left winger in the club at the moment. As weird as it sounds, as many people don't want to hear it probably, he is actually the best left winger we actually have at the moment in the club. Dribbling, pace, technical wise, you could actually say that, genuinely. That is just based on accomplishments. Dribbling wise, you could say that. Scoring wise, you'll have to see for yourselves because he tends to miss very easy chances, although Saka has missed open nets. Trossard has missed quite a bit of chances last year to maybe tie and win us certain games. Martinelli, let's not even get into that. And Havertz, it's just Havertz. Let's not get even into that as well. I realized that if we draw to Spurs, quite likely now, and then lose to City, very likely, we could be 7 points off the pace. That's the thing. We actually, if we lose next 2 games, we are 9 points off City. 8 points off City. 8? That's 8 points. But that's if they win the next 2 games, obviously. But let's be real. 131 goals for City. Right wing, yeah, that's the thing. Right wing, left wing. He can cover both wings. And if Saka plays, he can put him on left wing. Yeah, that's the big thing. 131 goals, 73 assists, 204 points out of 339 games. So he has 0.6 of a point almost every single game. Sterling must start every game for me. You could argue that. The thing is, Trossard will be hella pissed even more now. He already is a backup for Martinelli, who has dropped quite a bit of stinkers in the last year and a half. Yet at the same time, we sign another left winger potentially. Trossard surely has to be pissed. We'll see what happens against Spurs, City, what's gonna happen there. Best winger we have right now? Let's see how he plays for Arsenal. Let's see how he actually plays for Arsenal. Because on paper, based on accomplishments, he is. Performance-wise, what he has done for Chelsea, you just wouldn't say that. Because Trossard has better stats and everything. But technical ability-wise, he is. Don't care, Trossard thinks. That's the thing. He wants the starting role. Trossard genuinely wants the starting role. He wants the starting role. He wants to start. But when he starts, it just doesn't goddamn work. As weird as it sounds. He maybe needs to come to terms with the fact that he has to be a backup dancer. Genuinely, he has to be a backup dancer as a super sub. He may need to, exactly. Super impact sub. He needs to come to terms to that, by the looks of things. Anyways, now for a few minutes, it's 50 for about 10-15 minutes I have left. Let's talk about the schedule Arsenal have since the Champions League games have been announced. Maybe we should start games on sub to start after. Maybe. Basically, games. Are you seeing this correctly, or should I kind of center this? No, it's all fine. I'm not gonna center this. I'm sorry if you have OCD and it looks off center, but I'm not gonna center this. So, Champions League games have been announced. When we gonna play them? All the PSG, Atalanta, Girona, Dinamo Zagreb, Sporting Lisbon, and all them games. All have been announced. Times, dates, and everything. So, what we're gonna do now is look at Arsenal's schedule and let's see what we can make of it. Basically, we're gonna just look at it and let's see what we can make of it right now. Because, I'm not gonna lie, I took a look at it and I'm scared. Genuinely, I'm kind of a bit scared. Because, obviously, we had one game and now we are going into international break. 2 weeks off and then we are kicking Premier League off again. And here it is. We play against Spurs. We have Atalanta away in Italy on September 19th, and 2 days later, we are traveling to Manchester to play City. I wouldn't say that this sounds very good, but oh my days. Oh my days. With the injuries we have at the moment, with no certainty when Jesus will be back, when obviously Merino is gonna be back mid-October, and everything, it's already looking quite bleak. Not to mention the fact that Timber was cramping up and everything. It's not looking that great. And it doesn't stop there because we play Leicester at home, then we have PSG at home, Southampton at home, okay, cool, Bournemouth away, let's see how that goes, and then again massive games start. Donetsk at home, which I genuinely don't expect to be an easy game, because they're always a handful in Champions League. Liverpool at home, Newcastle away, Inter Milan away at San Siro, Chelsea away, Forest at home, Sporting Lisbon away, West Ham away, United at home. And that is till 3rd of December. It's not getting easier, it's just getting harder and harder and harder. And the big thing is, the biggest question is, do we have the depth and enough quality in the team to sustain this? Do we have enough depth to sustain this? Yeah, Man United at home is game week 14. Only 14! And we already have to play some of the biggest teams. That's the big thing. PSG home, Southampton home, Bournemouth away, worry. You know, it shouldn't, but it does. Based on our depth in the team, based on the fact that we get injuries, we already have three players injured. We don't know what's going to happen with other players and how it's going to affect them, especially with all the traveling at the moment. Because let's just say we play here. See? Liverpool home, Newcastle away, then we have to fly to Italy to play at San Siro, and then we have to fly to when we fly home and London, it's London, but still, then we have to go home game, right? After the home game, 3 days later we are in Portugal, then we fly to play in London, and then we are playing again home against United. This season, as exciting as it looks, it's hella scary, and I'm not gonna lie, just because lack of depth in our team, the fact that we let go certain players and didn't manage to replace them, find proper backups and everything, worries me quite a bit. It's very scary and it's very dangerous at the moment. That was the last checkpoint on my early analysis. If we are still in touch by game 14, we have done very well. Exactly. But in those game week 14 by the time, where is that? United, right? We have to go to San Siro still, Sporting away, all the tough Champions League games we have in between. This season will be very exciting. Prepare for highs and lows, but be sure to buckle up. That is to say the least. Highs, there will be some highs, 100%. The thing is, there will be lows. And the biggest question is, against who we will have the lows. That is the big thing. Because in Champions League, we need to be in top 4 to get out of the group without having those elimination stage games, those extra playoffs and stuff like that, right? Will we get the top 4? Are we confident we're gonna get the top 4? $28.10, $28.10, $28.10, $28.10 to $4.12. Liverpool 27th, then we Newcastle, Inter, Chelsea, Forest, Sporting, West Ham, United, Fulham, and then we obviously Monaco. Yeah, it's hell. It genuinely is hell. That is hell. Shakhtar away worries me not so much. Shakhtar not so much as Shakhtar home. That's true, but Shakhtar at home also, Shakhtar at Emirates will be interesting to say the least. They have the know-how. That's the thing. These teams, we always say, oh, but those are only Shakhtar and that's only Sporting and that's only Porto like last year. They have the goddamn know-how. They know how to play these games, stink out the plays, get the wins, get it over the line no matter what the cost. They have the know-how. Obviously, you would expect that Arsenal, after such rough last season against Porto and Bayern Munich, would kind of get the know-how, how it works. Yet at the same time, it will be a whole new experience. But we only play Shakhtar once. That's the thing, we only play them once. That's the good thing. Yet to be honest, Liverpool, Newcastle, Inter Milan, Chelsea, Nottingham Forest, Sporting away. We played 2 away games in Champions League in a row. And now both of those games are hell on earth. Hell on earth. San Siro, Inter Milan, and Amorim with Sporting Lisbon. Hell on earth. We could have a perfect team capable of winning a cup competition. Name the cup. Name the cup, please. Arteta has ruined the schedule. How Arteta has ruined the schedule? Hold on. How has he done it? I'm kind of confused. I'm thinking of a previous home record with Shakhtar, which is 2-2. Yeah, it's not easy. It's genuinely not easy. 27, I mean. Yeah, I get it. The European. You think we're gonna win Champions League? You really believe we're gonna win the Champions League? Really, BX Gunner? Champions League. Table phase, right? You need to be in top 8, right? 8 best teams instantly go through. So Arsenal, Atleti, Borussia, Bayern, Inter, Liverpool, City, Milan, Paris, Real. So we have about 10-11 teams competing for 8 spots. The question is, will Arsenal actually manage to go through, or they will have to play this in-time playoff round we have before that? To be honest, true, we have seen weirder things. At the same time, yeah. Top 8 go through to round of 16, 19. Exactly, the 32 playoff. The thing is, the way at the moment Arsenal have the squad, the way the depth we have in the squad, the things are going, and the schedule we have, I would argue there's an argument to be made. We will be the 9th or 10th team, the odd man out. Arteta has ruined Pepe. Man, Pepe at Villarreal is balling out. Genuinely balling out. Wish we had him still. 17 matches so close to half a... Exactly, that's the thing. Before that you had what? 6, 8, 10, 12 games, right? Before that you had 13 games, right? 13. 6 in group, round of 16, quarterfinals, Round of 16, quarterfinal. Yeah, 13 games you had before. You have 4 games more. Yeah, you have 4 games more. You have basically you have 38 games in Premier League. You have, if you get to the finals, extra 17 games. That's 55 games already. And that is not including FA Cup and Carabao Cup if you go further there. Genuinely. It's on. To be honest, I'm not getting into Pepe talk because genuinely the way Pepe looks at Villarreal, the way he looked when, who did they play? I don't remember. He was looking insanely well. He nutmegged 2 players, passed the ball. He nearly scored. He had insane free kick against Atletico Madrid, which hit the bar from about 35 yards out and everything. He actually is kind of balling out. Yeah. That's the thing. 67 games for Arsenal to win the quad. If that is basically if we would win everything, right? And now in the midst of that include international break, right? Not to mention the fact that every odd year we have World Cup or Euros, Olympics every 4 years as well. It's insane. You play nearly about 80 to 90 games. It's insane. The schedule is insane, genuinely. But overall, yeah, for me, the biggest rough patch is that late October till end of the year. That for me is the rough patch, because mid-October we begin with October 5th. We have international break, by the way. See, before Bournemouth away. We have 22nd Donetsk, Liverpool, Newcastle, Inter, Chelsea, Forest, Sporting, West Ham, United, Fulham. Then we have Monaco at home, which will be again interesting. Everton, Palace away. Then it gets a bit easier after Monaco game. We have Everton, Palace, Ipswich, Brentford, Brighton. Then we have, on my name's day, January the 14th, we have North London Derby. And after North London Derby, we have Wolves. Oh my goodness. 2 massive home games with 4 games in between. Then we have Champions League at home. We go away to Wolves. Then we have Girona. The last game of Champions League group stages for Arsenal is January 29th. So then we will see what is what. And even if this game matters in a way as well, which is a mad one. Oh, in March we play Man United and Chelsea back-to-back as well. And of course, end part of the season, last 3 games. Liverpool away, Newcastle at home, and Southampton away. We always do well against Southampton, don't we, guys? So this schedule is hella jam-packed. And our team is thinner than it was last year. You could say we have better subs to make at the moment, arguably. But those subs we have to make, they are not attacking subs. They're mostly defensive-minded subs, if not defenders themselves. If you actually think about it. Obviously, we have injuries to Merino and Jesus and stuff like that. Now we have Sterling and everything, right? But most of the players we can sub on are defenders many times. That is the big thing. I can't wait for Top Gunners to write off Girona. They don't... That's the thing. Girona today are playing against Sevilla, by the way. Sevilla away. The game is happening as I'm streaming, by the way. Let's see how it's looking, by the way. 1-0 Girona at the moment. 1-0 Girona at the moment. Yeah, but nobody knows Girona, for example. I watch Girona. I watch La Liga in general. I watch Bundesliga. I watch pretty much Bundesliga, La Liga, Premier League, odd game in Championship, Serie A a bit. La Liga I don't watch. I don't want McDonald's and everything. But overall, yeah. I think many Arsenal fans are sleeping on Girona. Genuinely. I strongly believe so. Yes, they have lost Garcia, Dovbyk, Savinho, Young Couto, and everyone like that. But they have found decent replacements. They just signed also Danjuma from Villarreal, if I'm not mistaken. They have Donny van de Beek, who had a great assist last weekend as well. It's actually, look, they're actually doing pretty good. Their manager's also very good. I'm not gonna lie. Girona's manager to have... Hey, yo, that's a different channel, a completely different website, right? Don't watch as many leagues as you, but I follow the scores through prediction games. Girona, especially away, is gonna be. Girona at home is very rough, and I would imagine if they had Dovbyk, right? They didn't lose Dovbyk to Roma. It would be a very long game. Savio there as well would on that left side, which is already our weak side, would cook there. But yeah, it is very interesting. We will see what's gonna happen. We have to wait till 28th of January till we play Girona. And by then even that game might not matter. We might be out of the top 8 and we will have to play that round of 32 playoff. Who knows? But it is what it is at the end of the day, I guess. But yeah, I think on that note, I'm gonna slowly turn off. If you're new around here, of course, smash thumbs up, subscribe, hit that bell, all that good stuff. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Really love chatting with you guys. Big up Pepper, Nick, BX Gunner, and everyone else in the chat. But yeah, thank you guys so much for being here and everything. You have been fan-freaking-tastic. Because they got promoted on the bounce all the time. They got promoted instantly, and with budget which is like 1/10, something like that, of Luton Town's budget from last year, took Madrid to the last, like, say, 5 game weeks. They pretty much carried the whole season. Very exciting. They were scoring insane amount. Girona is part of City Group. That's why they are built properly. That's also the case. You have to remember that. But yeah, Girona actually play very good football. Yeah, people say don't recall Girona being special up until last season. But last season they were great. This season they had a slow start, but they're picking up the pace quite nicely, I'm not gonna lie. Nobody was including Bayer Leverkusen into anything until last season as well. They got relegated nearly the year Xabi Alonso took over. They were also, at that time, nothing special. No, I'm not saying we shouldn't beat them, but it won't be as easy, in my opinion, as many people think. Especially since it's an away game. That's what I'm saying. That was the same attitude everyone had against Porto last year. We saw what happened there. That was the same thing everyone said about Sporting. We all saw what happened there 2 years ago. We all said that about Villarreal and Emery 3-4 years ago. We all saw what happened there. That's the thing. Everyone is expecting for us to win easily those games. But it's not gonna be the case. Let's be real. We should be beating them. There's no argument about that. The question is, will we beat them? Because at that instance, it's a very iffy one. I would agree with you if this was at home. But away, exactly. And that's the thing, the home games for us is somewhat easy. Yes, PSG is there, but overall our home games is easy. Overall, if you think about it. Our away games is the one that's very worrying me. Like Inter away, Atalanta away. Who else we have away? Zagreb? No, not Zagreb away. Girona away and Sporting away. Those are the games that worry me. I think Lens away, Porto and Sporting have given this team the awakening to him. That's the thing. That's the biggest thing. Have they given awakening to Mikel Arteta? How to play against mid blocks and everything? Because because against Sporting it won't be a different story. It will be more or less the same story. We got very lucky at Sporting last time because they scored an own goal and we tied the game. To be honest, Girona play different style. They play actually attacking, open, technical football, so that will be very interesting. I fancy us more against Inter at home. We play Inter away. That's the thing. We play Inter at San Siro. That is the big thing as well. We don't play them at home. We play them away. PSG at home will be an easier game than Girona away. Depends. Really depends on injuries and how that goes. But yeah. I think I'm gonna end it here, guys. Thank you guys so much for being here. You have been fan-freaking-tastic. Again, big up Pepper, BX Gunner, Nick. Who else was there? Nick Fadley, of course. Agieri, 170, Gunner. Everyone in the chat. Nathan in the chat as well. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you're new around here, of course, subscribe, hit that bell, smash thumbs up. Definitely helps a lot. Hope you did great. Hope you had a great time. Take care. Stay safe. See you all on the next stream. Have a great start of the week tomorrow as well.